Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sean, also known as The Beast, and basically this one's just a collection update. I'm going to show 5 records that I've played solely since, well, for the last week. It makes a change to actually, instead of buying constantly, which I still do, and then playing something, well, I have to play this, I have to play that, I thought I'd make a conscious effort to spend a little bit more time with each album before passing judgment or giving my thoughts. A couple of these have been recommended by people in the VC, so you may have seen some of them already. Chances are if you're watching this rubbish, then all the people that has shown you previously, you'll follow them as well. So I'm going to start off with a band called Solothus. These gentlemen are from Finland. The album is called Summon from the Void and it was released in 2013. It was recommended by Anthony from Metal Miners. Now, if you're watching this, you definitely know who Anthony is on the Metal Miners. That gentleman knows his stuff and he does some amazing recommendations. This is crushing, slow to mid-paced death metal. The riffs are seriously thick and heavy, and the vocals are low and guttural, but there's the occasional, not a shriek like a black metal shriek, but enough to make you think, that boy's got some pipes. It came out on, if I can see it, I read it somewhere, I wrote it somewhere, Dementia Records, and it's a 2022 reissue. When Anthony showed it, it was one of those albums that I instantly thought, oh, his description was a lot better than mine is. I need to listen to it, and tracked it down. Pretty easy to find, to be honest, and it's an absolute belter. It's one of those albums that it leaves you wanting more, but in a good way. Almost like you can't just listen to it once in one go. You need to flip back to the start and go for it again. Solid recommendation. So, cheers, Anthony. The people I mentioned, I will actually leave the links to their channels down below. The next one was shown by YouTube royalty, as he likes to be known, Mr. Johnny Mac from Rock and Metal Plus, and it is Death Breath, Stinking Up the Night. He showed this, I believe he showed it on the Grind episode he did with Dave at Cavernous Carnage and Altars of Madness, which was a thoroughly enjoyable evening, to be fair. It's out on Psych Out Records. If you say death metal and you say Sweden, you've got an idea of what you're going to get. It was the debut full length as well, this one, which it sounds a lot more mature, if that's the right word. You don't expect a debut to be as good as this. Well, I didn't anyway. I may be doing them a misservice, but yeah, it's got thrashy parts into it, and a couple of times it's almost like doom metal, but it is a solid, proper old school death metal record. Now again, this came out in 2006, and it's an album it captures your imagination straight away, and it leaves you thinking, wow, there has to be more of their stuff I need to get into my collection. But being sensible this week for a change, I'm waiting until I listen to some other stuff before I run out by the rest of the stuff. But again, that's a Johnny Mac thing, because that's what he does, so he's YouTube royalty, so you have to do the same, don't you? Next up is one that was shown by the Oracle of all things dirty and horrible and filthy, our good friend Mr. Mark G with a C. Now this is Conjureth and Parasitic Chambers. Came out this year, and it came out on Rotted Life Records. They're an American band, and this is aggressive, violent, nasty, dirty, filthy, riff heavy, chaotic magnificence. That's the only way to describe it. Out of the ones I'm showing, this is the one that's been played the second the most. It is absolutely brutal. It's got it creates an atmosphere that's that sometimes can be quite overwhelming, especially if you start listening to it with a pair of headphones on, which when Mrs. Beast is watching the television, the stuff that she does, I'll stick my headphones on and it just takes you away to somewhere you probably don't really want to be, because it's not a nice place. Normal people don't live there. Not saying that I'm normal, but it's ferocious, it's aggressive, it's me repeating the same words again, but it's so just full on, nails you to the bedposts, smashes your face in, and then leaves you there thinking, what just happened to me then? Absolutely quality death metal release, and it probably will end up quite high on my album of the year list, because it is that good. Next up is going to be the most butchered name for a band ever. It was shown by Dave up at Cavernous Carnage on their grind, the grind thing I mentioned earlier that he did with Johnny Mac and Matt. And the band are called, right, I'm going to have to look down here, Flagitious Idiosyncrasy in the Dilapidation. The album's called Wallow. Wallow, easy, read that bit. It came out in 2013 on 6 Weeks Records. It's a female grindcore band from Japan. This is absolutely brilliant. I've been missing out on this for the last 10 years. So a massive cheers to Dave for putting it in the list of the 15 I think he showed. This is absolutely mint. The riffs aren't necessarily what you'd think of as purely grindcore. There is almost like thrash elements in there, and there's little bits of groove in there at times. And the lady that sings, I'm not even going to try and pronounce her name, she does it with such venom and spite and just nastiness that you think, you don't want to upset her. You'd get a katana on the back of your head. No message. And that's being very stereotypical that Japanese people carry katanas, because that's what they used to do. But yeah, if you've never heard this one, it was pretty easy to find as well. If you've never heard this and you're into grindcore, but you want it just a little slightly bit different to your normal murder, death, kill type grindcore, then it's worth a listen. It's really, really good, and it surprised me to the point I was like, heavy rotation all week. But unfortunately, you can't go on my album of the year list because it's 10 years old. But hey ho. Right, now the next one, nobody showed this, just me in the record shop, saw it, liked the cover, no idea what it was about, but I thought, well, I'm buying it anyway. The band are called Death Pill. The album is self-titled and is a female trio from the Ukraine. It's their hardcore punk thrash debut. It came out on New Heavy Sounds Records, and this has had countless plays. It's got such a fantastic attitude, smash you in the face, thrash, punk, hardcore, crossover, however you wish to describe it. There'll be people out there watching this and thinking, yeah, Sean, you're absolutely butchering the description. But all I can say is, I've never been able to listen to this once fully without having to put it back on, repeat it again 3-4 times on some days. It is just amazing. I've never been so impressed by Blind By, which it was, for a long time. I say it's punk. There's a feeling of that some of the riffs are so much thrash-like. The vocals are very punky, but there's just something that ties it all together. It just sits sort of like in that middle ground of punk and metal and hardcore and thrash, and it's got groove, it's got feeling, it's got savagery, it's got brutality, but it's absolutely, it's my favourite album of the year at the moment. Now, I've played the ears off this, so I might be a little bit biased at the moment or overloaded by it, but it's absolutely, it's a superb release, and I'm genuinely excited to see what the ladies do again. So if you fancy taking a chance on something, it's easy to find. If you fancy taking a chance on something it's got that like punk rock ethos, but with a more modern, aggressive, angry, I think they use the word riot girl. Now I don't know if that's still politically correct when describing music from years ago, like Bikini Kill and stuff like that, but you can sort of see where the lady, I'm assuming that the ladies have took their sort of ethos from that, the way of working, the way of writing, and they sound like three best friends having fun, and they've captured the sound, stuck it on a record and said, do with it as you will. Well, I've done countless spins this week. It's the one that's been played the most out of all these releases. So yeah, I would say give it a go. It's well worth it. Right, before we finish with the record, well sorry, we finish with the records, but before we go, I'm a massive collector of zines and books because, like I said in a previous video, apparently knowledge is good for you and reading is good for you. So I managed to pick up Slowly Rewrought issue number 22, and it's full of quality interviews. It's not like one of the commercial magazines that you buy from your local high street news agents that's got like 5 interviews and then 70 pages of adverts. This is a really good proper zine. I'll try and flick to a page where there's nothing. I just have to come up on a interview with Gorefest. Again, apologies for the glare, but yeah, it comes from Transylvania, so to me that's already got bonus points because they're vampires and shit. But yeah, really good. If you can get a copy of it, it's well worth a read. In the background, we are listening to the mighty Coffin Mulch and their full-length debut. This is, you know, on the previous video I said about showing off. Well, this is me showing off. I've got every available version of this on all formats, which is silly and definitely showing off, but it's that good of an album, and the guys are such nice guys. When you see them live, it's like what they're doing is they aren't doing it for the money, they aren't doing it for the fame, they're doing it because they love death metal, and they've released an absolute bastard of an album. This is killer from start to finish. From the very first blood-curdling scream, you just know what you're going to get, what to expect. If you haven't heard it yet and you're watching this video, I'll be surprised, to be honest. But yeah, it is an absolute monster, and I'm looking forward to seeing these guys again up in Scotland next year at the Dead of Winter Fest. There's quite a lot of the VC going up there, so if you get a chance to grab a ticket, I think it's only £15. There's 11 bands on, including the mighty Malediction. So a massive thank you to everybody that takes the time to watch these videos. I'm still learning. Hopefully I'm getting a little bit better. I still mumble my words and the descriptions probably get very generic. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up. If you like it enough to think, yeah, it might be worth a subscription, it talks some sense, then please feel free to do so. I would love to hear in your comments about any of these releases, if you've heard them, if me waffling on's managed to make you tempted to buy them. But I say, thanks again to everybody that's watched, to everybody that subscribes. and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.